All right, and now we have the best man, Mr. David. Woo!
Thank you. Wow, what a beautiful night, right, guys? First off, I would like to thank the Academy for. I'm being told that's the wrong speech. Sorry. Here it is. The monologue I prepared. Wow, what a beautiful night, right? So, same opening line either way. Who would have thought that two guys who grew up separately slaying a very specific breed of sassy vampires in Los Angeles would reunite years later in Atlanta as best man and groom in a wedding to a beautiful mortal, having both retired our flamboyant fangs. Feel free to ask questions about that later, guys, preferably after a few drinks. And, Anyway, life definitely takes you on some weird turns, right? And ironically, that's exactly what Jason is the embodiment of. No, not weird. Well, maybe eccentric. But no, he's the embodiment of embracing all those weird turns and finding joy along the way. Literally in any situation, all while making everyone around him feel exactly the same. It's contagious. Sit in a room with Jason for 30 seconds and you'll literally forget any stresses that could have possibly annoyed you that day. Because at the end of that day, it probably doesn't matter. And Jason will always remind you of that. You could even double down and tell him that you just went outside, slashed his tire, set his house on fire, and got him fired, and he would be like, well, my tires had low tread, I had my eye on the house on the street, and I've always wanted to be a plastic surgeon. And he'd probably thank you for showing him a new perspective. Nothing phases him. He's always happy. There's a silver lining in everything, and he's like this little energizer bunny of positivity. And it's like, where did that come from? But anyone who's met his parents can spot that in a heartbeat. Andy and Joe did quite a job raising him. With that said, Jason still approaches life with this childlike wonder that never got jaded by adulthood. Heck, he has an entire room dedicated to action figures and superheroes that rivals any toy store, hobby shop, or nerd's basement in New Jersey. And the old, underutilized English major in me got to thinking about the metaphor behind that visual I see every time I walk in his office, as I avoid getting decapitated from his Game of Thrones sword or tripping over a Marty Cove doll. And then it hit me. It's because for Jason, fantasy is reality. There's no ceiling on the limits of possibility for Jason. If you can dream it, you can do it, as long as you believe. He literally wrote a book about it. You can buy it on Amazon. He's Atlanta's very own Coach Lasso, where nothing is impossible. It's in the word, I'm possible. And that goes for him and anyone lucky enough to be in his corner. The past few years, we spent many a football game, likely at a Hooters or a chain restaurant outside the perimeter, pondering life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. And I couldn't help but notice Jason's pursuit was always rooted in the core of another. He's the epitome of altruism. He cares about making your life better, often prioritized way above his own. I'm willing to bet everyone in this room has been on the receiving end of that as well, be it in your career, love life, or most often your personal life, where he's gone out of his way to teach you a lesson that you'll take with you the rest of your life. If you haven't gotten his famous Circles of Energy chat, ask him about it. It'll change your life. The Cliff Notes, most people are a 3, annoying, or sometimes a 1, comatose, but 2, chill, is actually the goal. I was a strong 3 before Jason. Point is, Jason is literally a professional at providing love, strength, and happiness to others, but what about his own? Enter Amanda. One day, Jason and I were watching our fantasy football team's tank, and this time not at a Hooters or a chain restaurant outside the perimeter, just a regular sports bar, when I noticed the look in his eye changed. We always recounted our weeks, work, bad dates, and I'm still perpetually recounting those. But on this day, Jason actually looked up from his phone to talk to me about this one girl. Anyone who's been to dinner with Jason knows the phone and work are a big part of his dinner. Again, because he's prioritizing literally everyone else above himself. But this time, he let work wait. So I told him to tell me about her. Obviously, her beauty was on the top of that list. I won't get into all the specifics, but rest assured, Jason was quite visually smitten. But it was obviously deeper. Amanda has this drive and ambition that actually rivals Jason's. She's an entrepreneur and not an actress. We all did the sign of the cross when we heard that. or whatever the Jewish equivalent of that is. Anyway, she literally taught him that there's more to life than being an agent. There's Poshmark. And and again, if you're in this room, there's a very strong possibility you've been on the receiving end of a lightly worn t-shirt or used Air Jordans that remind them of your personality. But all jokes aside, Amanda found something to work on with him for them, which is something no one ever brought to the table with Jason before. It was always about what Jason could do for that other person. And finally, he was on a two-way street, a beautiful, charming two-way street. And one that actually had a third lane, Amanda's son Blake. And this is where Jason really started to glow in the conversation. He was so excited about having a little human new best friend to play video games with and nerd out about Tom Brady too, excuse me, and watch Marvel movies with, all while showing this young mind that the world can really be one big realm of possibility. He stepped into this surrogate paternal role so effortlessly. It's like he was destined to be a family man from the beginning, which is a far cry from the Jason I knew a year before, where he would call me to get drinks at a rooftop bar on 9 p.m. on a Wednesday, talking about closing deals and Vegas vacations and conquering the world. Now he's talking about youth soccer games, thrift store shopping, and family trips to Cedar Point. And that's when I knew this was real. Jason had found a family in Amanda, and not just a date. And he was all in. Amanda brought Jason much needed balance in his life. They cooperate like no pair I've ever seen in my life. They work together, they work separate, but most of all, they work happy. And the only thing Amanda needs in return is love. And some thrift stores. In a way, Amanda has brought Jason back down to earth, but in the process, showing him the sky's the limit. When your partner in crime is as infectiously positive as you are, nothing can ever bring you down. And because of that, they just hum at the highest partnership vibration possible. We all know that Jason has spent the entirety of his life making other people's dreams come true. But with Amanda, someone finally made his. So to never growing up, dreams coming true, and finding your perfect person. To Amanda and Jason, Mazel Tov.
Y'all, one more time for this maid of honor, best man speech. What the heck is that? Wow.